And we are live, it looks like.
All right.
Making sure we're cooking with fire here. How's everybody doing today? Hopefully, we have a new setup, so...
Yeah, we're always experimenting with new tech, so bear with us if things go off the tracks here. But welcome to our Facebook Live. We do this every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. I'm John Gardner. This is my partner, Radlin Mendoza, and we are Gardner and Mendoza immigration lawyers. Yeah, we're good?
Yeah, we are good. Okay.
All right.
Awesome. So, today we are going to run through our regular, and you can tell us what we're going to talk about today.
Right, so the things that we always hit, we obviously the most important thing, we like to take your immigration questions or other legal questions if you think that we may be able to answer them. The other things that we like to do, we always go over the court updates because during the COVID-19 pandemic situation, there have been a lot of changes in the courts. Those have all smoothed out, but we'll talk about that briefly, as well as what's going on with USCIS. And we're going to talk again. I've been hitting this for a while. I'm going to talk again about the new Virginia Driver Privilege Card that we have here in Virginia. It's been official for a while, but it's even more official now because there was an actual signing by the governor. It was already a done deal for the most part, but now it's actually a done deal.
It looked like it was signed virtually, which is...
Yeah, I'll explain. When we get to that, I'll explain what happened there and why it was official, but now it's even more official. All right? Official, that's right. And lastly, before we get started, I want to make sure to let you know that we try to cover information here that we think will be helpful to our clients and to the community, but it is not technically legal advice. We're just discussing legal issues, we're answering questions, we're trying to keep everyone informed, but it's not actually legal advice. So anything you hear here, make sure that you double check it or follow up with us if you're one of our clients. Follow up with your own attorney if somebody else represents you. I'm not sure why you would do that, but if that was your choice, make sure to follow up with them, and just make sure that you don't go take some action based solely on something that you heard here, because all of these cases are so incredibly fact specific that even though you hear something here that seems identical to your situation, it may not be. There may actually be a very small wrinkle in difference, and it might be something that is hugely important. And had we looked at your case specifically, we might have done something differently or given you different advice. So make sure you don't take anything here and run with it without consulting with us, okay? That's my warning. Thank you.
And that's with anything that you hear on the World Wide Web and the world of
that's right. We can
information out there. There's so much information out there, and it's wonderful to have a lot of the information. But as John said, you definitely have to take it as for educational purposes only, and every single case is different, as we have experienced over the 20 plus years we've been practicing law. There are definitely patterns, but every case is and can be different. So, educational purposes only. Thank you. Our lawyer told us to say that.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's get to. We always like to read a 5-star review.
Yes, I like to read a 5-star review, and
make sure to get those questions coming. Okay.
Yes, please write your questions in the comments. I don't see any questions yet. Well, there are a couple of people on, so thank you all for joining us. And this one is from Vladimir. I love reading reviews because it just highlights the team and the work that we do for the community. Excellent services. This is short. Professional, courteous, worth it, every penny. That's my favorite. Yeah. Short and sweet and to the point, worth it, every penny. Honey, you're worth it, every penny.
Every penny, that's right.
Down to the last penny. Thank you, Vladimir, and thank you to all of you who have written 5-star reviews for us, and even the reviews that aren't 5-star. They're always helpful to see what we can do better. They happen sometimes, of course, but
plus we love to hear that because it makes us continue to be super confident, not just in ourselves, but in our team. You know, some of these reviews involve other team members other than the two of us. And so we love to hear that. It's nice to know that everyone's doing a great job. We know they are, but we like to hear it. So if you haven't reviewed us yet, make sure you go ahead and do it. Okay, thank you.
All right.
All right, let's move on.
You want to do
All right.
a quick court update?
Yeah, let me just tell you what's going on. So here's the thing. Pretty much everything's back to normal as far as cases being heard. All right. So as I said last week, if you've got court, make sure you double check that date because everything seems to be up and running for the most part. I've been around now in the last couple of weeks. I've been to Newport News and Chesapeake and Virginia Beach and let's see, Sussex County and Isle of Wight. So I know that all the courtrooms are pretty much up and running as per usual. All the cases are being heard, traffic cases, criminal cases, even civil cases seem to be rolling now. So make sure you check your paperwork and be prepared to be in court for your case, just as things were before the COVID-19 pandemic. Obviously, there are some changes in the way the court is being conducted. The most important thing, of course, is that you have to have a mask. So make sure that you have a mask with you. When you enter any of these courthouses, you are going to be asked questions about your health, whether you have any symptoms that are consistent with COVID-19, whether you've traveled outside of the country in the 2 weeks prior to showing up in court. And some are even taking temperatures. Some are just doing a little check with your head with a handheld, you know, like you do with your baby when they're little. But I was out in Sussex County the other day, and they had some seriously high-tech stuff where it was like I stood there and it's like a full body scan and a computer readout. I felt like I was at the Narita airport in Japan again. So it just depends on where you are. But make sure you have a mask. Be prepared to answer those questions. When you get in the courtroom and the courthouse, there is social distancing that is enforced, and it's pretty easy to follow. Almost every courtroom that I've been in now has had, you know, X's marked where to sit, where to stand. So, you know, just make sure that you try to follow the rules. If everybody just sticks to the rules, we're going to be just fine. All right. So that's the update for court. How about USCIS?
USCIS, before I get into that, we have a question here. Thank you, Armando, for the question. Really appreciate questions, so please write them in the comments.
Okay.
And if you don't feel comfortable writing your question, you can send it through Messenger. You can also send it through info@gmlaw.net, and we will address the question. We're not going to be able to do it tonight, but we can respond to you, or we can do it next week. So these questions are always really great. They're great for people who are watching and educational.
Yeah, and again, this is the primary thing that we want to be able to do with these Facebook Lives, is to make sure that we get some questions answered.
Yes, it's no fun if you guys don't ask questions. It's still fun. That's not true.
It's a lot of fun, but it's more
I mean,
fun.
we're matching. Can you guys tell we're matching today? John, he wanted to match with me. Is this salmon? Is this a salmon colored shirt? What is this?
Coral.
I think this is salmon
This
colored.
is salmon.
Anyways, we're matching. All right, Armando, what happens with the people who have tourist visa and expire next year? It's possible they can get extra time to renew their visa. So, Armando, I think that you may be talking about the I-94. So, essentially, if you're coming from abroad, you may have to apply for a visa. And that is where you go to the U.S. Embassy or consulate and you fill out an application. Well, you do that prior, you do that online. And they do a quick interview and they issue you the tourist visa, B1, B2. Armando, if that's what, yes, you're talking about the B1, B2 tourist visa. So they issue you that tourist visa. Some tourist visas are issued, they're multiple entry, they're 10-year visas. Some of them they're issued for a shorter period of time. I've seen them for 6 months, I've seen them for 1 year. So, Armando, what happens is, let's just say, and I don't know all of the facts of your case, but let's just say that you were issued a short visa. Let's just say, 6 months. So you came into the United States, and at your port of entry, at the airport, where you entered the United States, you were met by immigration, right? And so basically you were interviewed also again when you went to the airport of the United States. Say you came through Dulles and immigration is there, and they say, what's the purpose of your trip? Trip is to come visit friends, family, whatever is that. Okay, great, have a nice trip. So typically when you enter the United States with your visa, you're going to get a period of stay, and that's going to be on your I-94. Now that you have to look up electronically. And Armando, if you need help looking up to see what period of time you have on your I-94, most people know. It's I'm not going to say usually going to be 6 months, but that's what we see, is that it's typically for a 6-month period of time. So your visa, let's just say, is expired now. Okay, you've gone over 6 months because of the the COVID-19 situation. Your I-94 is, because it was also 6 months, also expired. What you have to do is you have to file an extension of the stay, the I-94, and that is done through the form I-539. And you're going to do that, you're going to fill that form out, you're going to request additional time and give the reasons. We're using the COVID-19 reason right now. We are showing that our clients can support themselves financially for the extra time that they're asking for. Many people can't get flights home. And so we've used that as a reason to extend, even if that I-94 has already expired. So if the stamp in your passport has expired, okay, that's not what we're looking at here. We are looking at the stay that you're given, the I-94. So it's a little bit confusing because people interchange the oh no, the battery's running low. You want to charge that. People use the visa and the I-94. So
if you excuse me for one moment.
John's going to go get a battery charger. Armando, give me a like if I have answered your question. If not, you can put your email, or you can send me an email at Radlyn, RADLYN, @gmlaw.net if I did not sufficiently answer your question. Hi, Anne. How are you? Thanks for saying hello, and thank you for being here. All right, that was a really great question. Okay, we're plugging in the. That's never happened before. Do you want to do it over there? Okay, let's see what. Facebook Live is always fun. There's always a challenge, and it's good times. Okay, so a couple of USCIS updates. If you all have been to the USCIS.gov website as of yesterday, it's brand new. They just launched it yesterday, and it's supposed to have streamlined navigation, revision of the Citizenship Resource Center, and increase access to the Spanish website, as well as multilingual resource center. So it's supposed to be better. It better serves the public and the USCIS customers. So go check it out. One of the things that I was kind of playing around with it. We use the USCIS.gov website quite a bit because one of the things that we do.
Okay.
So funny.
That problem solved. Sorry about that, everyone.
You could have gone over there.
Yes, I'm back. No, I need a power strip because there was a 3-prong.
Gotcha.
I couldn't just plug it into the wall.
Good times.
Not only did I need a charger, but I couldn't plug it right into the wall because I didn't have an adapter. So I had to go get our huge, power surge thing.
Unplug everything over there. Including
That's right.
The wireless, the Eero. You unplug the Eero?
Other things may be turned off now.
Like that light right there. Okay, so check out their website. Our immigration law firm and our team, we use the USCIS website all the time because before we file, we make sure that that it's the most recent form, okay, that we have on our forms application, our form software. So we always check. I mean, our forms application, they say that they update it all the time and make sure that it's always updated, but we always check that the latest version of our form is correct, and we check that through uscis.gov. We also use that website to check processing times as well. So when you want to know how your case is processing, you can pop your the I-130 petition in there and where it's getting processed, and it'll give you the time frame in which it's going to be processed. And one thing also that you definitely have to do for the self-filers out there is you got to check to make sure that you have the correct filing fee. I've never used their form tool before, and I don't know if it was there before, but I used it today. I was playing around with it. It's pretty cool. You just put in the form number and the fee pops up. Is that some geeky USCIS immigration stuff? Okay, so our friend Karen, hello, how are you? Did you see John plug and unplug that hour?
Wow, I'm really sorry that you had to see that. I mean, you're
Okay, so Karen says, this is a fantastic question, Karen. What has been the most challenging part of the pandemic for you and John as immigration attorneys? There's been so many. If we want to just pick one, the most challenging part, I think, is the managing the expectations of our clients.
I was going to say the same
because
thing.
we're on the same level, right? We've had it, just because we've been through this together for the past 4 or 5 months up here in this office. But I think it's just managing expectations, their uncertainty, their fear, and just making sure that we are giving them the most up-to-date information as possible. What's going on with this executive order? What's going on with this presidential proclamation?
Right.
Does this apply to me? Does it, am I going to be able to continue to process if I'm doing adjustment of status here in the United States? So we're answering a lot of those questions, and answering the questions is really not a big deal, but it's more of just giving them the confidence that, yes, for your particular case, we can move forward, and we're going to be okay. So it really is just kind of managing those expectations. Do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Just that there's been so much uncertainty with everything that it's been hard. I mean, we can answer the legal questions, and we know how these cases work and how they go and how they're supposed to go. But then when things are closed and things are backlogged and we don't know when things are reopening, we just have too many questions that are hard to answer. There are things totally beyond our control. Things like, well, when will the embassy be open? We don't know. And can it go forward again? Nothing can happen until that happens, and so on and so forth. And so, yeah, absolutely. It's just been trying to make sure our clients know that some of the delays, that there's nothing wrong with the case, there's no problem with the case, everything is okay. Just to be patient, that we're going to have to just kind of wait until bit by bit these things start to reopen and normalize, and so that's been our
and really
challenge.
just trying to get the right answer for the client. And sometimes there is no right answer.
Yeah.
And the right answer is we're going to have to wait and see, and just trying to give them a little bit of comfort when they're not feeling any comfort whatsoever. They're just. We have families that are separated, loved ones who are separated, of course, and just the whole immigration process in and of itself is scary. It's scary for a lot of people. It's a big deal. And with that immigration process, and then on top of that, you have the global pandemic, you have the closures, you have the presidential proclamation. There's just a lot.
Yeah, I mean, it's already a stressful situation.
For everyone. I mean, the global pandemic is a very, very stressful situation. And then you add to that an immigration process where maybe somebody's, working at a pharmacy and their EAD is about to expire, and they need to know what's going on with their case. Are they going to be able to get that EAD renewed? So there are so many things, but I think that's the most challenging.
Yeah, being in limbo. There's nothing worse with anything in life than being in limbo. That's a hard thing.
But thanks for the question, Kieran. Thanks
Yeah.
for joining us.
Yeah, we're going to keep answering it. We're just going to continue to talk about that. The other chat now.
Okay, we have a question from Miss Linda. If you're being petitioned by a company, can you get part-time when you're off? Not sure what that question is. If maybe you could rewrite that question, and we might be able to answer it a little bit better. But I don't quite understand that question. Kieran, if you want to answer that.
Yeah, if you could maybe try to rephrase that for a
You
second.
can answer the question. All right. So let's see. What else do we have here?
Well, I wanted to mention briefly. This is not a huge deal, but it's immigration news, and we like to make sure that if there's something in the news that involves immigration that we think our clients and community might be talking about, that we mention it. And this.
Well, let me just go back for a second. It's not
Yeah.
a huge deal necessarily for the impact it's going to have on our clients and their processes.
Right. That's what I mean. It could be a huge deal as a national issue, but it's not a huge. When you drill down into the nuts and bolts, it's not a huge deal.
And thanks to Raquel for sending this to us via Messenger early in the week.
So
For us to talk about.
you may have seen the headline said Trump signs memo excluding illegal immigrants from 2020 census count, and you may be wondering what this is all about. Basically, President Trump on Tuesday signed an executive order excluding illegal immigrants from being counted in the 2020 United States Census, and that's not my paraphrasing, just so you know. Can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a printout from the I think this is from the New York Post. In any event, so what this is, I'm sure most of you know, all of you know, every state has 2 senators, right? But the number of representatives that each state has depends on the population in that state. And so the number of representatives in the House of Representatives for each state can go up or down depending on how many people live there. And the Trump administration had tried previously to include a citizenship question on the census, so that when people were filling out the census, they would have to indicate whether they were a citizen or not. And it was challenged. It went to the Supreme Court, and it was knocked down. And so that question is not going to be on the census, or is not on the census, I should say. So this, I suppose, is maybe some sort of an end-around attempt to kind of bring this issue back up and keep fighting it in another way. I don't think, honestly, it has much impact, and I feel like I say this about every 2 weeks about something that the Trump administration has done, is that the headline sounds bold, but when you drill down, you find out that there's really not that much to it, and I think that's the case here again. And I say that because even though the number of representatives is based on the population of the state, and even though some of the federal funding that goes to states can also depend, and it's a portion based on the number of people that are living there. I don't know as a practical matter, since the question's not on the census, I don't know as a practical matter how the Secretary of Commerce would go about making this determination as to whether X number of people in some given state are illegal or not. And so this may just be another situation where the executive order sounds bold. A lot of people that are really into this love it. They think, okay, this is great. California shouldn't have so many representatives. I'm just picking them randomly because a lot of people there are undocumented, and then that makes them happy. But I think in terms of what impact it will actually have, I suspect very little, if any at all. So that's just my opinion, by the way. Some of you may have a very different opinion about it, but if it's something that you're into and you're worried about, I wouldn't worry about it. Okay?
If you have a different opinion than John, please write in the comment.
Yeah.
You guys can have a debate.
Yeah. I mean, this has happened before, as this article pointed out. In 2000, after the 2010 census, some states, Texas, for example, gained 4 seats in the House of Representatives. So, it does matter. I'm not suggesting that it doesn't matter, because ultimately it matters in terms of how much representation each state has. but I just mean that as a practical matter, I don't think they're going to be able to count it. I don't know how they'll come up with the number, and I'm sure it'll be challenged in court as well. And if the Supreme Court already left the question off the census, I suspect that they're not going to be very favorable in their view of this as well. All right.
Do you remember the census people coming to your door when you were a kid?
I do.
Did you answer the door and call your parents?
You know, I don't recall. I'm not going to answer that question.
Oh, I remember. And I remember just
we weren't
not calling any parents or not really
Yeah.
participating.
We weren't
people.
big on answering the door for people that weren't pizza delivery people. So
We still aren't. Of course, people know we're home because everybody can
Right.
see in our house. All right,
But
so
again, this is not legal advice. I think you have a legal duty to answer the census. So we're not
Do you?
suggesting that you shouldn't cooperate.
okay, I don't know anything about the census.
I don't know if you have a duty or
think
not,
that-
but I think you're supposed to. I think it's a good citizen.
Stop talking about the
you're supposed
census now.
to. Okay, moving away from the census.
Yeah. All right. So recently saw an article that from www.govexec.com that furloughs are still planned despite increase in revenues. And so read a quote here, and this is for USCIS employees. The Trump administration is moving forward with more than 13,000 furloughs, even though the impacted agency no longer expects to see a budget shortfall this fiscal year, according to lawmakers in internal emails sent to employees. So USCIS told employees it can only delay the mandatory unpaid time off for more than 70% of its workforce if it receives emergency funding from Congress, even though an uptick in revenue has opened the possibility that it can now cover its expected expenses through September. So what I want to say is thank you all for filing your cases as we have advised. File the cases that you've been sitting on, that you've been waiting. It's only going to get longer, especially if these furloughs happen. So the longer you sit on your application and not file it because of this news that's going on, the worse off it's going to be for you as far as the wait is concerned. And so there have been more filings since the USCIS has, they've opened up their field offices for interviews, and I think because of that, it made people think, oh, okay, well, they're open again. Well, the fact of the matter is they've been open throughout this whole global pandemic, and so still pushing, please continue to file your applications so USCIS can get the revenue that it needs and maybe not furlough, 13,000 people out there who are, some of them are personal friends of mine. I've worked with our local field office for 20 plus years. I know all those people. They're all great people doing their jobs and wanting to help their customers and just get cases done. So please, if you are thinking about filing, but you're sitting on it because of the uncertainty, again, it's just going to be longer wait times for you. But I wanted to just give you that update.
Yeah, the sooner you get in the line, the sooner you get out of the line. All right, we have a question here.
Okay, we have a question. I've got a question. Let me answer this question in the comment real quick. Oh, it's a long one. Do you want to read this?
Sure.
You read it while I read it, and then I can
Okay.
think about it while you're reading it.
I applied for I-539 for my mom's extension as a tourist here last June 15th of this year. When I called USCIS, they said that it might take up to 6 months before we know their decision. I told them the situation that my mom's stay here expires on August 1st of this year. The extension I applied for is up to January 22nd, 2021, and included the plane ticket that I have rebooked for my mom on the said date. The person from USCIS said that it's okay for my mom to stay here and extend without the approval of the I-539 as long as I've applied for the extension before her stay here, I-94 expires. Do you think that is safe for my mom to stay here? I don't want them to take that against my or my mom's record, if that makes sense.
Thank you in advance, and more power. And more power to you too, and more power to everyone out there. So, you could probably answer this question, right?
Yeah, I could, but I'm going to let you answer it.
Because you know what I'm about to say, right?
Yeah, because
you know what I'm about to say.
my answer would be so technical that it would probably bore everyone, so I'm going to let you answer.
So, and I'm going to say, without having looked at your application or anything like that, just from the facts, you are fine. Your mom is fine. She is in a period of stay authorized by the Department of Homeland Security because you have filed that I-539 before the expiration of her I-94. And I would even go so far as to say, even if her I-94 had expired, under the circumstances, she probably would still be okay. But it's great that you filed the I-539 before the I-94 expired. For all of those out there listening or going to watch this later, please go ahead and do that if you feel like you're going to come up against this I-94 deadline and you've got to return. Mom can't get a plane ticket home for whatever reason. You know, maybe you don't want her to travel because she falls under the category of elderly or someone who's immunocompromised. But plan ahead so you don't have to file after the I-94 end date. So, and you did a great job by filing before. Great job. Mm-hmm. And yes, she should be fine. You've asked for the extension until January 22, 2021. And you may or may not get an answer before that date. I mean, unfortunately, that's the case. And, you know, if you need to extend that again, we'll see where we are January 21st, January 22nd, 2021.
That's a great answer. She was teasing me, by the way.
Yeah.
Because I was in state court. I won't say where or when exactly, but in the context of a state court case, this came up. And I told the judge that my client was in a period of stay authorized by the Department of Homeland Security, and both the prosecutor and the judge just kind of looked at me like a dog does when you say something. It was kind of a tilted head of confusion.
Yeah, what does that even mean?
Exactly.
I love the questions. Keep them coming. All right, and that is what we want to do. Ann says, thank you so much. You gave me the peace of mind that me and my mom need. Perfect. I was just emailing a client today about peace of mind, and that's what we try to do.
That's right.
That's what we try to do.
If nothing else, that's the best thing. If that's the only thing that comes out of this Facebook Live tonight, that's enough. That's wonderful.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So I have another question here that was sent to us. I received my green card last year. How long should I wait to apply for citizenship? So if this person has received the green card only last year, typically you're not going to be able to apply for citizenship in that year. There are some exceptions for military. I don't want to get into that right now because that's probably not the case here. So if you received your green card based on marriage to a U.S. citizen and you have been living with that U.S. citizen for the past 3 years, then you are able to file your citizenship early and do it at the 3-year mark from when you got your green card. So if you're married to a U.S. citizen, 3 years from the issue date of your lawful permanent resident card, even if that card is a 2-year card. And just to add a little bit of confusion here, you can actually apply 90 days early. So you can apply at 2 years and 9 months. But if you did not get your lawful permanent resident status through marriage, then typically you're going to have to wait 5 years or 4 years and 9 months if you're applying 90 days early. So hopefully that answers your question. For that latter situation, that would be, if your parent filed the petition for you, if an employer filed a petition for you, if your sibling filed a petition for you, and that's how you got your green card, then that's going to be the 5-year wait. All right. Immigration update. So again, it's best to check court update. It's best to check if you're not sure about when your court date is, whether it's been moved, if you're in a jurisdiction where the immigration courts are closing because of civil unrest, then it's best to call the 1-800 number to check your court date. That's 1-800-898-7180. I feel like an infomercial now.
That's right.
1-800-898-7180 if you want to check your court date and your court information. And hopefully, if you are in removal proceedings, you do have an attorney representing you, and your attorney should also be able to let you know when your court date is.
Yeah, infogration.
Infogration.
Yeah, infogration.
All right. So one last thing that I want to mention about, hold on a second. There's just scanning notes here. Mm-hmm. One last thing. It's not the last thing I'm going to mention, of course. I wanted to say that we have, as I mentioned last week, one of our clients had an interview at the U.S. Embassy in Manila, and that's awesome. It was a spouse of a U.S. citizen, and he recently received his visa. His visa was issued, so that's good news. I don't have any information about any of our other embassies opening up, just because we haven't seen it. We haven't seen these interviews being rescheduled. So that's the only one that we know of so far, and that was a spousal case, spouse of a U.S. citizen. So that's great news, and I know that the embassies are going to slowly be opening up, so we're super excited about that, as are our clients. We have another question?
We do. Maria wants to know if there's a backlog for fiancé visa petition.
That is my cousin. This is the first time in Facebook Live history of Gardner knows that one of my family members has appeared on our Facebook Live. Thank you, cuz. Thank you for your support.
I don't think that's true. But...
I don't know. I mean, I have like 2,000 cousins, and they should all actually be flooding this live feed. But
yep.
I'm just kidding. You guys are, they're secretly watching. They're probably all like around one phone, like all my aunties are. All right. So is there a backlog for fiancé visa? There's no backlog for a fiancé visa. There's processing time. I mean, it depends on what you consider to be a backlog. There is a processing time, and the processing time is about 5 to 7 months from the time of filing. As I told some clients recently, can that change in the future if we have furloughs, USCIS furloughs for a couple months? Yes, the processing times can change. But you can't just file and then be issued a fiancé visa right away. There's just a processing time that's 5 to 7 months. I don't consider that to be a backlog in the way that I see a backlog, but guys, hopefully that answers your question. See, she's laughing because she knows I'm right. All the cousins I have, the first one ever. All right, what else do we have? I've got the embassies opening up, the immigration court. I think you're next with the driver privilege cards.
Yeah, this is my little pet issue that I want to mention again, as I have the last few weeks. This is a new law in Virginia, the driver privilege card. Basically, the deal is this: for a very long time, one of the requirements to get a driver's license in Virginia was that you had to show lawful presence in the country, which created a problem for various people for various reasons. In any event, there's a new law that was passed that basically is going to be a driver privilege card, and you are not going to have to meet this requirement of showing lawful presence. You're going to have to show that you had income from a source in Virginia or on a tax return, or that you were claimed as a dependent on a tax return that was filed in the previous 12 months. And you're also going to have to show that you're not in violation of the insurance requirements. In other words, that you have insurance and that you meet the uninsured motorist vehicle requirements as well. So if you don't have an insurance problem and you have had income in Virginia and filed your taxes, then you're going to be able to get a driver privilege card. Slightly different than a Virginia driver's license, but it will have the same effect for driving. So you will absolutely be able to legally drive in Virginia if you have a driver privilege card. This law will go into effect on January 1st, 2021. And basically, it's at the beginning I said that it was official before, now it's official. That's just because it had gone through both chambers of the General Assembly, and then it had gone to the governor for signature, and then the governor had made some tweaks to it and sent it back. But then it was passed with the tweaks exactly as they had gone back from the governor. So once that happened, that had basically made it a done deal. But on Monday, there was a virtual signing. And so it's even more official than it was. I was able to report it before, because obviously if they passed it without any more changes from the governor, then it's a done deal. But the ink is dry, as they say now. The virtual ink.
The virtual ink.
Yeah, this is like a DocuSign kind of situation.
Is it DocuSign?
No, I'm sure it wasn't.
It was on Zoom.
I'm sure it wasn't DocuSign. But the the virtual signing is complete. And so what I've been telling people, and I'll say it again, if this is something that you will benefit from, don't wait until New Year's Eve to decide that you're going to go get one of these make sure you start looking into it now. Come see us or talk to somebody who you think can help you with it, because you want to make sure you start getting your documentation in order and take care of anything that has to happen to make sure that you're going to be eligible, so that when January 1st, 2021 rolls around, you've already got your ducks in a row and you're ready to go, okay? If you have questions about it, you're confused about it, please give me a call. Give us a call or email me. You can email me at jcg@gmlaw.net. Again, that's jcg@gmlaw.net. And I'll continue. I've been getting some questions that are sort of obscure questions that are hard to answer right now, because we're still going to wait for the details to trickle in. The law is on the books, okay? But as you know, I can take one glance, any lawyer can glance at a law and suddenly find ambiguities, different interpretations, and I already see some in this one as well. And so I'm waiting to see what DMV puts out down the road here in terms of what documentation specifically they're going to be asking for, what the forms are going to look like, what their expectations are going to be for the requirements, so on and so forth. So as those little rules start to trickle out and we have more information, I'll continue to update them. But the law is a done deal, which is fantastic. This has been in the works for a very long time, and this has been something that we've been hoping for a very long time, and I'm really, really happy for my clients and for the community that we serve that this is the law now, because it's really a safety issue. I mean, the people that are going to benefit from this know how to drive. They already drive. They have a license from another country. It's just that they now will be able to drive in Virginia. Oh, the safety part of it I forgot to mention. You'll have to be able to pass the Virginia driving test as well, of course. All right. So that's my report on the driver privilege card.
Okay, I want to. My cousin's asking a question. Let's go ahead and address that. What makes your husband and wife legal team work so well? Secret, we want to know. I think that it is strong family values. We both come from really great, strong families. We have an amazing extended family. We have great friends. We're very supported by our community. And that makes us want to support each other that much more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it really, we both come from really, really very close, tight families. And when you have a really close, tight family, it really makes you, I think, appreciate how important it is to be with your family, which makes us have a lot of empathy for what our clients are facing and what they're going through and what they're struggling with, to just try to keep their family together and not have uncertainty with it. I just would be gut-wrenching to have so much uncertainty surrounding something so fundamental and basic as your core family unit. And so we love our clients, and that's what we want to do. We just want to help them get to a place where they don't have to worry about it anymore. And
John loads and unloads the dishwasher. That also makes for a very strong husband and wife legal team.
That's right. That's right.
And a lot of other great things as well.
Yeah, but thanks for the question.
Yeah, thanks for the compliment. That's a family member right there. You can count on a family member for that kind of question.
Yeah, you can count on a family member to serve up. That's what we call a softball.
I wanted to mention also DACA right now and new applications. So USCIS had been rejecting new applications, and now again, based on a court decision, they're going to have to start accepting them. So we're going to see how that plays out. Right now, we are interviewing clients for new applications. There's quite a bit to do in order to apply for a new application for DACA. So for those of you who are reaching out to us and who are asking us questions, yes, we are seeing you, and we are seeing you for new applications, even though it is kind of uncertain as to what's going to happen here and who's going to back down, right, with regard to accepting these new applications. But in the meantime, we would love to give you a roadmap on how to successfully file a new DACA application so it does get approved when USCIS starts accepting these applications and not rejecting them like they have been. So please reach out to us if you need some help with that. There's a lot of document compilation in order to get that case approved. And also there's questions about, whether what we had submitted when DACA first came out is going to pass muster, whether it's going to, be acceptable at this point in time. It might be tougher scrutiny. They might be looking at cases a little bit harder and not accepting documentation that was accepted before. So please reach out to us if you need some help with that.
Absolutely.
All right. I don't think we have any other questions, do we? No, it's been great. We've loved all of the questions and answering them, because that just means that we're providing some value to the community. Hopefully. That's what our goal is with these Facebook Live. So, want to give a shout out to our team, of course. Yes. As always, we wouldn't be able to be here without our legal team back at the office, or not back at the office. We're all working virtually. Just to mention, as John mentioned last week, we have gone back to virtual appointments.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes.
So to mention that. Go ahead. No.
Oh, so we're going back to virtual appointments. They're working really well. We're doing them through Zoom. We're doing them through Messenger video. However you want to do it, we can do it, and we've been doing it for not just during the global pandemic, but because we are an immigration law firm, we have clients all around the world. So we're quite accustomed to meeting clients in very many different formats. So back to virtual appointments, we opened up our office in Newport News. Unfortunately, we've only seen a handful of clients there so far, but once everything settles down, we'll be back there full force and back in our main office in Virginia Beach.
This will be in the rearview mirror at some point, and we look forward to that time.
But we do appreciate your support. We appreciate you all coming on to our lives. Yeah. Please like it and please follow it. And if you know anyone who may benefit from this information, or who may have immigration questions that they just have and need answered, then please send them to our Facebook page and our website. So that is it for our Facebook Live.
Yep.
Do you want to? So also shoot us a message through Messenger, and you can also shoot us an email to info@gmlaw.net if you have any follow-up questions about this. And last week, my cousin's like, come see me. The one or two times I went to Newport News, I went to my cousin's house and she gave me some food, some vegetable lumpia. They were delicious. So anyhow, we hope to see you guys soon, and thank you so much for joining us.
That's right, I gotta go now. I gotta go do the dishes. So
two thumbs up. Take care and be well and stay safe.
Yep. See you next Wednesday.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.